Okay. All right. Can you guys see me okay?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. All right. Discord video. We are figuring it out as we go. I love it.
All right,
It's kind of easy and nice.
it's working. All right. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Okay, people. This is our coaching session. Hang on. Let's see. Let me make sure. 1 second. Hang on. Focus is. If I blow it up to focus, I see a big image of Brock. it only cues on you, Brock. I
Turn it
love it.
off. Turn it off.
It's great. Okay, I think I can click on myself. All right. Okay, good. How's everybody doing? You guys are here for coaching, right? So here's what we do here. So you can ask anything, any question, any area where you're struggling, any challenges, any struggles, any clarification, anything around trading. So we'll do mindset coaching. We can do process. We can talk about your edge. We can talk about your approach. We can talk about anything. So what I'm going to ask is, if you want to get coached, then just, it's kind of weird for me to talk to myself if you're not on video. So if you could go on video and hop in, and we're all helping each other here. So nothing to be, afraid of. Nobody's gonna hurt you here. So come on and join us and come get coached. So what do you guys want to talk about today? Anyone can step up. We don't need coaching. We're doing amazing. Everybody profitable? This is going to be either a long meeting or a short meeting. I love it.
I want to hear from somebody new.
Well, just step up, Brock. You have a question? Let's do it.
I don't. I mean, of course, I'm always, willing to chat about trades and things that way, but I don't think I have anything particular for today.
Okay, no worries.
I wish I did, because I'd love to kick it off so that way we could open it up for everybody.
I know, right? I know. Yeah. Hey, if nobody needs coaching, we're awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi, Todd. Oh, I can't hear you. Anybody else here, Todd?
Else in the chat said trying to speak.
So they try to speak, yeah, but they cannot. They cannot unmute.
Neil's trying to chat.
It looks like. So perhaps you try, Taylor, to unmute somebody manually.
Well, Todd isn't muted.
Oh, right.
Go into your speaker settings and see if you can try a different microphone. If you guys can.
Mm-hmm. Who was having this problem yesterday?
I have it happen randomly, and I have to change off my headset and go to my computer microphone.
Yeah, I was on with
that
someone
helps
yesterday.
Anybody, but...
Oh, I was on with Ryan yesterday, and we had a problem, and I don't know what he did to solve it. I was just talking about how good Discord was, and now look at this. Let's see. I'm just checking the settings. I'm going to make sure there's nothing in here from a permissions perspective to speak. Let me just do that. Speak, connect, video. Okay. Voice activity. There's that. Okay. This shouldn't matter, I guess, because I think everybody is in here. Because some people are talking. Okay. So Todd, if you like, did you try clicking on the arrow with the microphone? And then your input device is selected. Maybe try a different device and then switch back to the one you use. Like, so switch to a different device and then switch back to the one that you want to use. See if that triggers it or something. And then I think if you
You know what else I could?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say it might be a browser setting. I know that with my browser, I had to enable it to use my microphone since this is through the browser. So that could be the browser blocking the microphone too. It's just
Unless you're on the app, right?
oh, fair. Yep, you're right.
Voice activity. Hey, who else? Anybody else having issues? Isaiah, can you unmute and see if you're also having an issue?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Todd. Poor Todd.
Try going in your settings and like in your actual settings for your computer and type in microphone. And there should be a toggle on and off for your entirety of your microphone and just toggle it on and off.
Oh, I think Todd popped off and then maybe he'll come back in. Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait for Todd to come back in. Cool. All right. What else you guys want to talk about? Coaching. Who's got a question? If you're not trading profitably and consistently, you've got to have a question. Right?
Nobody has any. I do have a question about yesterday's trade, but I didn't want to bring that stuff up here. I don't know if this is the place to ask those questions. So
go for it. Nobody else is asking anything, so go for it. Everybody else must be like totally awesome in their trading, so go for it. Yeah. Which trade was it?
It was regarding the gold trade yesterday, and it was I think you commenting about it being in a consolidation. And how you were like thinking that it might go to the consolidation range, the top of that, like for the day, like that was a potential that might go up for it. And I wanted to look at it because I just wasn't seeing, like, I saw how from RDR to ADR, it definitely was like in consolidation. But then I thought from like ADR to ODR, it kind of went below that range. And so I just wanted to like clarify, I guess, what does it mean like when it's in, like when it's still consolidating that way. So I could pull up my chart if that would help and share. I don't know if my question made sense at all.
I'm trying to look and see what what was I talking about?
Well, so I missed the morning session, yeah, and that's my bad because I wasn't up early enough to catch you talking about it. But like I was looking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about now. All right, so let me share my screen, and I can. This will be good if for some people. So let me actually, I'm over here. Let me come into this one. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Actually, let me do it a different way because I'm pretty sure that let me do a screen share because that will get higher quality if I do a screen share. I'm doing that through OBS. So I know there's two on here. So there's me. All right, and then you guys can see the screen, the gold screen. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So here's what we have going into, this is what we had, right? We had Monday, Tuesday. Okay. What I was saying, Brock, is that we have a range contraction between, the prior RDR, which was Monday's main session, and then the ADR session. And so when you have a range contraction, what ends up happening is you have, I usually, what I do is I'll kind of draw the edges here like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the idea is that we could, kind of come down to here. And if we can't keep going from here, then a reasonable target is to go back to the other side of this range contraction. Okay. That's what I was talking about. So it's this is a range contraction behavior. A lot of
even
times,
though that low, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, so even though that low went below the outside of the range, that did, because I guess it didn't keep going, but even though it went below it, that's still okay.
Yeah, because like what we expect. So one of two things is going to happen with a range contraction day like this is either we're going to kind of come below here like this, and then we're going to take off short. We're going to have like remember I said like you can get really big moves on range contractions. It's a coiling effect. So either we're going to take off like this and just shoot down to wherever. I think these were some monthlies. Or if we fail, and notice like as we came back in, right? So that's our low. Okay. So notice we come right back in, right? And then we stop right there. And then we keep going back up. And so like at this point you were looking, like where were you looking long? Like somewhere around here or here? I don't remember.
No, I was actually going short. I actually got short off that
short right
that
here.
big wick up.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying is that, not terrible idea, because, this could just kind of, mess around and maybe come back down to here. But your contextual thesis is I'm going to test the other side of this range expansion right here. Okay. Gotcha. That's kind of from a context perspective. You're looking for that. And just for everybody else I know this is stuff that you guys don't look at or follow, but this is stuff that we kind of go through in the advanced part of the program so that you can learn and understand context, right? And so that's why we're talking about this Brock's question about it. So, you could have also been looking, short or go long, kind of around here or so forth, right? That was kind of the idea.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to kind of ask about it, because I think for me, I'm really focused on the data because I don't understand the other context that you're talking about. That's why I wanted to ask this question. I think I need to be looking at them both. Like today, I was trying to look at the trumpet pattern more along with the data. Like the data was saying it would go short, but I wasn't. So I was kind of missing this part. So I guess just the one follow-up. So like I thought the contraction days were kind of based on the IDR DR range, like so between the RDR session and that ADR, how it's within that range. And then the fact that ODR kind of goes outside of that range. So does that not really matter? It's more about the range between RDR and ADR.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right.
This kind of sets up the contraction, and then you want to see what happens at the edges of the contraction, right? And we had like pretty much a failed breakout. Came back in, and then potentially want to test the other side.
Perfect.
So that would be like your first target is a testing to the other side up there. And we kind of did that, went up to the gap, and then just kind of piddled around after that. So not really much to do after that.
Perfect.
So yeah, that was good context.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, Todd, did we get your audio fixed? I don't think we got Todd's audio fixed. That is so weird.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, Isaiah.
So I've been working on documenting and exploring my emotions through whenever I don't take a trade, because Rev has noticed and I have noticed that a trigger for when I should get into a trade is when I question it. And because I have the data backing that I know where the trade is at, I know when I should execute, but my emotions occasionally get in the way, and I'll see it and I'll question it. And I've been working on recognizing when that happens and knowing that that is a trigger to actually just pull the trigger anyways, instead of just hesitating. And it's gotten better, but I just want to know your thoughts on the best way to document that and help improve not doing that anymore, and to help alleviate that from happening. Just want to know your thoughts.
So you're saying that your hesitation is created because you question the trade.
Yes.
Okay. So why are you questioning the trade?
From the documentation, it's just a fear of losing. Just fear of losing and me trying to be right. And because of that, it triggers those emotions of anxiousness, just a lot of emotions that will just flow through, and then I just start thinking, well, maybe it's not right. I should look further back. Maybe I should do this. Maybe if, just a lot of things to question the validity of the trade.
Mhm.
And then it goes. Instead of just, oh, boom, 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 there it is, pop in, and then there we go. But from what I've noticed and what Rev has noticed is that, well, when I do that, well, that's the emotional response. That's the trigger signal to actually just pop in instead of hesitating. And I just want to know your thoughts on.
So are you asking me about Revan's advice to you to use that as a trigger to get in?
No.
Okay.
Just like, what are your thoughts, your opinion based off of that? Like, I just want a second opinion and the overall, a better, another way to document this, and and your advice on how to improve upon doing that as well.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's go back to, so I know we've done some coaching in the past, right? Quite a bit. The 5 trades challenge, you went through that, right? Did you have similar issues when you were doing the 5 trades challenge with this problem?
The only times that it wouldn't be a process trade was when that would happen, because the emotional response from when I did hesitate was then I was forcing a trade to be right at that point, instead of just pulling the trigger when that first signal appeared.
Yeah.
Because I was questioning at that point, and then, well, the move happens, and now I'm trying to force a trade to happen, and then that's the one that loses, and those are the ones that were out of process.
Right. But when you were doing the 5 trades challenge, and I think we kind of went down to 1 trade a day, right? Were you running into scenarios? Let's say that you weren't even doing the 1 trade. Even after that, I think you got up to what, 2 or 3 trades a day with the 5 trades challenge. Were you hesitating on those trades? Were you having trades that you missed because you hesitated because you were thinking through? Or were you focused on the process of completing the 5 trades challenge in a way where you just took the trades anyway?
I would say it was a mix of both, because even when it was just 1 a day, there were times where I would question the first attempt at when all of the signals would be lined up. I would question it, then it would go, and then I would get in the second attempt,
Yeah.
And then that's the one that fails because, I waited that whole time when I should have got in on the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. When we're dealing and struggling with something that like we repeat over and 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 over again, right? Like you do a really good job, Isaiah, I already know, of kind of documenting kind of your thoughts around things and kind of like really looking at the mindset portion of this. The bottom line is you have to retrain yourself. Like this is a retraining exercise at this point for you.
Okay.
There's not much else of a shortcut from a mindset perspective that you can do. You already have all the tools, right? So you've got the paradigm. You know how to identify that you're doing this. You probably can identify that you're doing this in real time. Am I right?
Yes.
Right? So you've got to retrain yourself on taking these trades anyway. And you're like, duh, Taylor,
Okay.
of course. That's what I'm trying to do. So, the retraining has to happen in an environment where you are recreating the same scenarios. So, like I'd like to ask questions, but I also like to occasionally give you some feedback and advice. Get into Sierra Chart because I know you trade I know you trade 2-minute setups, right? And I know you're taking a little bit more on the edge of discretionary system, right? And I'm recommending Sierra Chart. Pretty much from here out, I'm only recommending Sierra Chart for replay mode. Like I think if you guys are trading anything like Patrick's or Revan stuff, and if you're not on Sierra Chart to at least use that as a replay mode mechanism, you're doing yourself a disservice, 100%. Because there's valuable training that you can do there that is there to help retrain your mind and to get your muscles into a different muscle memory.
Okay.
And
I
so
had it a long time ago and I stopped using it. But
yeah,
I'm
I
not.
would, like if I'm, struggling with something like this, you open up and launch Sierra Chart, right? And then you replay a day. And then replay it on 2 speed. Don't replay it on 10 speed. Replay it on maybe 2 speed or 3 speed. Identify the setups, take them over and over and over again and replay. And then maybe you might want to think about modifying your execution style. If you take limit orders,
That's one thing I already did.
Yeah.
After the last time that we spoke, I did modify
yeah,
my execution and the process a lot more than what originally. So I've got that part down. It's just the overall executing with full confidence in the system itself.
yeah, yeah. See, you've like your brain right now is stuck in autonomous mode for your trading. In fact, if anybody is kind of consistently doing the same things over and over again, what's happened is you've made, neural pathway connections to show your brain we need to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And so if you continue to make the same mistakes, it's because you've already created those neural pathways, and the only way to disconnect them, the mindset stuff helps us to recognize when it's our thinking and our emotions that are getting in the way, and then we can start to deal with those. You've done a great job there. Like I think you've got really good skills around the mindset stuff to start to diffuse that part of it. And then the other part of it is it like you can't just leave a void there. You have to replace, if you're going to dissipate a fear emotion, you've got to replace that with something else. And right now you don't have anything to replace that with. So you have to replace that, preferably replace it with confidence. And so how do you increase confidence? You increase surety that you're taking the right trades. And the only way you can do that is by taking the right trades over and over and over and over again. And if you're not doing it in live, you got to do that in replay.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been using replay and NinjaTrader for a while. And one thing I have noticed is my mind has become bored with it. And I can do fine in replay, at least on NinjaTrader. I haven't done it in Sierra, but it's probably a little bit different. But I've noticed that because I'm bored with it, it's become mechanical in replay, but it's not mechanical in a live scenario.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I get that. And I get that it's easy to kind of, be in a replay environment and not feel anything, and you're not replicating the emotional state, and that's true. But when you're replicating the pattern recognition state in your brain, when you're recreating, taking the action of entering, like executing the trade, watching it go and get, and manage the way that you would manage the trade, right? That is, you're helping to retrain your brain there. Like you guys, hopefully you guys have done enough work around mindset. Like one of the principles, have you ever heard this idea that, visualization is as powerful as actually doing something? You can visualize something and actually become better at it without actually having to do it, right? So, it's kind of like that of what you're doing when you're working in replay mode. So I can't stress enough the value of spending hours in replay mode, because you're retraining yourself, and you got to do that work. And even if you're bored, you got to do that work.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense there.
Yeah. So I think you're doing all the right stuff from a mindset perspective. You just have to retrain yourself to take those trades over and over again, and retraining yourself in a live environment when you're feeling all the emotions, that's really hard to do. So do it in replay.
Yeah, one thing with Sierra charts, like what is the primary difference between the two replays? Like I haven't used it in so long that it's like I don't really remember it too well.
We should have Vincent on, because Vincent, I think last week or the week before, went through all the benefits of replay. It was really good.
You don't have to go through all of it, just
No.
like a rough explanation.
Well, first of all, like data loading is a lot easier. So you can load any day. It preserves history of your replay sessions. It gives you really good metrics pumping out. But one of the best features that I love is that you can actually, it simulates the market in a much more realistic way, right? There's actually a setting in the replay mode where you can actually get actual tick by tick movement. Now, I wouldn't recommend that. Keep it on standard replay. But if you wanted to get actual tick by tick movement, then you can do that. And there's nothing better than training yourself to see how the market actually moves. Sitting there and waiting for your trade in replay, simulating you waiting for a trade to happen in live environment, that's great training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just like a basic subscription to it, like just the bare needs of just having replay. Do you know what the cost of that is?
$25.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. Christian might know. It's cheap. You don't have to get a data feed, so you get access to tons of their data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Test.
It works.
I thought it would work this time, but I got it to work, and then I lost everybody else's audio, so we're good now.
Okay, good. All right. Awesome. Cool. Isaiah, thank you.
So definitely, I think it's like 25 or 30 bucks, yeah. And I also only can recommend this. It's great. It's, yes, graphic-wise, you need to get used to it, but this kind of live trading simulation is, for this price, you don't get something similar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And another question I have is, so which prop firm do you work with?
I work with Apex, but
Apex.
I'm not using them at the moment. I'm just doing in sim for the next probably about a month or so till I get things fully right with my mindset.
because I fully agree what Taylor said. Yeah. In addition, Apex has, as you know, then has sometimes some great offers. Yeah. Like you could then just take the smallest contract. Yeah. Or the smallest how do you say this in English? Yeah, thing, and then just trade one contract, or perhaps a micro, yeah, and then you are trading it live, yeah, but with a low risk. There's also an option to train it with lower stress.
But you have to do that if you're going to do that, which I think that's a great approach. You have to commit to taking every single trade that you see, right? Because you don't want to counter train yourself, right? You don't want to train yourself then to not take the trades because you're worried about just losing, like the concept of losing. There's a lot of people that even on sim they hesitate because it's not about the money, it's about the concept of losing, about failing, about those kinds of things, right? So you have to determine first why you're hesitating. If you're genuinely afraid about the money part, then smaller size might work. If you're genuinely having fear because you have thoughts about losing and being a loser and being a failure, then no amount of risk reduction is going to help you. It takes a training exercise of just taking it. It's like getting up in the morning and work out. Sometimes you just have to do it no matter how you feel. Sometimes you just have to take the trade no matter how you feel, but sometimes you have to train yourself to just do that.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So work on that. Yeah. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. All right, Todd. Did you have a question earlier?
Yes. No, I didn't have a question earlier.
Right.
I've been just kind of working through the technical difficulties that I've had, but no, we're all good. I guess to go to Isaiah, I mean, so I'm kind of an over trader, and I've been able to limit that a little bit, especially I guess it's a little bit easier when you become in the green for the day, and it's kind of gone back to um, the idea of being done for the day as well. And when I have a setup that I'm thinking about going in, I start to. I mean, this has worked for me. It may not work for everybody, but I kind of ask myself before I click the button, if this outcome isn't what I'm expecting, how is it going to make me feel for the rest of the day? And if I can't answer that in honesty with myself, whether or not it's a good setup, whether I'm revenge trading, because usually one of those two things happens to a feeling and it helps me identify whether or not I'm actually trading in process versus the feeling. And I know it kind of seems very subjective of a question. I know it may kind of go against some people's thinking, but when I start to look at things, because my issue is that over trading, it kind of helps me take a step back before jumping into the next trade, especially with being more of the discretionary trader versus trading explicitly the set of rules for like a box trade. So I don't know if that helps anybody that does more of discretionary, but that's kind of where I've started to fall after I've made a couple successful trades and I want to keep on pushing. And I'm like, well, where is this going to take me emotionally? So just kind of my experience, just kind of sharing. I know it's not very direct as far as an answer for anything, but just thought I would share.
That's good. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, what else you guys got? What other questions?
Hello.
Hey, Jessica.
So, hey Taylor. So I have a problem knowing when to enter because I'll see it. I think it's forming. I'll enter. It'll kick me out, and then the move happens. So, or if like I see it, and then I'm like, I need to get into that, and then I don't. So,
Yes. You're taking both sides.
yeah, yeah, I'm lost. I guess
The
that's what that
hesitation
means.
and getting in and getting, okay, all
Yeah.
right, that's good.
Well, I used to be not able to get in, so at least I'm able to get in now.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
so, yeah.
So tell me about what you're trading, how you're trading. What's your approach?
So when the 20 crosses the 200, so
Okay.
that's when I'm like, okay, now I need to be looking to get in.
Okay.
But then I wait so long for confirmation to see which way the market's going. The move has already happened, so then I'm like, okay, well, I missed that.
Yeah.
And then if it comes back again, I'm like, okay, so do I get into it to make the second bounce or, the second move? Or is that actually just going to stop out and go in the opposite direction? So,
Yeah.
uh,
So you're trading very similar to like the Velez approach, you know,
hmm
220 color change, those types of
yes,
concepts. Okay. All right, good.
correct.
And I'm going to ask you a question. So how many backtest trades on this setup have you done?
I mean, I practice on the simulator, so maybe 100.
Okay. And do you have a written trade plan with
I
your
do
rules?
not. Well, I mean, I write down things that I need to look for,
Yeah.
but in the heat of the moment, I forget.
Yeah.
And
No
then,
problem.
and then I'll look back and be like, oh, well, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be looking for, but then I'll not remember it again. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, so I'll get like two things, and then I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work out, and then I guess I get discouraged. So,
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. First of all, are you coming to the meeting tomorrow that we're going to have?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that will be helpful.
Okay.
So, so if we talk about like, first of all, I'm going to start kind of high level, Jessica. So sorry.
Oh, no, I'm good.
When we talk about being successful as traders, the very first thing to talk about is edge. And
hmm
the way that I define edge is it is having a set of rules that you follow that give you a statistical probability of profit. Okay, so it's a very clear definition. It's not, edge is not, oh, I'm feeling great about going long, and my edge is my ability to discretionarily decide whether the market's going up or down. Like, and I woke up in a bad mood today, so my edge is gone. That's not how edge works.
Right.
Edge is you have a set of rules and you have a statistical probability of profit for that set of rules. And one of the biggest challenges that traders have, that I have encountered when I do my coaching, is traders, you'd be surprised at the number of traders that don't actually have an edge. Or if they have an edge, they don't actually know what it is. They don't know how to define it. They don't know how to spot it. They don't know how to measure it. And so that's really the first step in all of this.
Okay.
And so like with the Oliver Velez approach, the Velez approach, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of different things to it. And with it, you probably have 5, 6, 7 different setups associated with this whole moving average idea that Velez teaches.
hmm
And so you can actually come and say, okay, well, let's identify one setup here and let me structure a trade playbook around that particular setup, right? So maybe one setup is, the first color change event after a 20 moving average turn, as an
Right.
example. Like, I'm just throwing that out there, right? And you define, these are all the rules. This is what has to happen. Okay, this, and this, and then this happens, and then I can take the trade. And now you have a set of rules, which is great. So you have to test that set of rules. So you got to go back more than 100 trades, right? Maybe 500 trades.
Okay.
And then you'll look and you'll see, hey, this setup, if I trade this consistently, has a profit factor, or these, like I can go into profit factor, but it's just one of the metrics that I teach people how to identify. But the profit factor is 4.0. That means that this is a profitable edge. And now I can start practicing it. Now I can start trading it. The challenge you're having, and I'm going to put words in your mouth, and I'm really sorry. I don't like to do that as a coach, but sometimes I do. Right? You're having a confidence issue in your edge.
Yeah.
You don't really know whether the setup that you're looking at is a setup or is a setup that has a long-term profitability characteristic to it. Is that fair to say?
That's right, because I'm like a 2-point trader.
Yeah.
Not very good.
Yeah, and that's okay.
So,
This is I'm trying to help you get on the right path, the right journey.
Right.
Right. And you've already kind of started down the journey, which is awesome. And the right path now for development for you is to take a step back, create a playbook with 1 or 2 or 3 different setups that you think are the highest probability setups that you can take. Test the crap out of those. And the testing is going to do 2 things for you. One, it's going to give you a really high level of confidence because you're going to see the numbers associated with, like, wow, this thing has a 60% win rate. It's got a 3-to-1 risk reward, right? And you're going to feel really good that trading this setup repeatedly yields results for you, right? So you're going to have confidence. And then the second thing it's going to do for you is what I talked about with Isaiah. It's going to train you to spot that setup and to take it every time you see it. Right? And so that's the work for you, Jessica, is to build that plan and then to test that plan and then to measure it and make sure that it works. And then I promise you, once you do that work, and you find that set of rules that has really good profit factor associated with it, really good, maybe a good win rate that you're really comfortable with, good risk reward, right? Then you're going to have a lot more confidence going into these trades. You're going to see the setup, boom, I need to take it. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the work for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Thanks for stepping up. I like it.
I'm shy, so as long as somebody talks first.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Thank you. All right. Who else has a question? What's next?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, this is like my first time here. So my question is, I saw you pulled up a chart earlier in this stream, and I want to ask what kind of indicators were on it because I really liked it. It was really good.
Is it this chart here? I guess it's my main chart. This one.
It was like different color.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't even shared this with all my guys yet that are in my program. Yeah. So this one down here, the colorful one, is called a stochastics heat map. So it's something that I found and then I modified for my own use. It basically helps me identify overbought and oversold conditions and trends. So this is experimental for me. So this isn't that important in terms of how I look at the markets and I look at trading, right? So that's there's that. I also color my bars based on the values in here. So if you see like this is colored red because down here we're in a red state in the stochastic heat map, and this is a fast state, this is a slow state. Okay, so that's why the bars are colored that way. The real work that we do in our program is we talk about these concepts of these sessions. So the session stuff is really valuable to us. And then tomorrow, what I'm going to show is I'm going to show how we use this trading approach to maximize how much R we get from the Oliver Velez color change method. Because what we've done is we've kind of married two different approaches. This is a really great approach for understanding context, market directionality, targets, big targets, right? Not 1 or 2 R targets, but 4, 5, 6, 7 R targets. And then the color change, the Oliver Velez color change seems to be a really nice marriage to help us identify execution, places to execute and actually get in. So I'll talk about this tomorrow a little bit more in detail in the meeting we're having tomorrow. But yeah, that's my chart. So most of these are indicators that I've built or derivative from other people's indicators that I've modified.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah, you going to be there tomorrow?
Where is it gonna be? Actually, I didn't know there was gonna be an event tomorrow.
Yeah, we have. It's not the same time, right? It's tomorrow at. What time is it
Is the
tomorrow?
link gonna be in the circle up or no?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
it's listed as another event in there. Yeah.
Oh, then I'll be there for sure.
Cool. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you.
Love it.
Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks. All right, what else you guys got? What other topics you guys want to cover?
Hi, I know we're going to talk more about Oliver tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
but I've watched some of his videos and I see that he uses the 2 minute, sometimes 5 minute chart, but that's for stocks.
Mm.
I trade the ES and the NQ. I mean, I guess it's the same, but it feels different because his charts do not look like mine when I get in to a
A
trade.
question about
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, I mean, with NQ being so fast, so is it the 2 minute chart a good chart to use, or should it be 5 or maybe 15? I'm
Any of them.
trying to back test it. Really?
And NQ is one of those ones that 2 minute does work.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out, the 5 minute is probably your best friend as far as you're going to have fewer setups for the Velez style, but it will keep you safe to an extent. I mean, as you learn price action, you can go down a little bit to if you're trading a discretionary system to help kind of pinpoint where you're going to enter at. But trading it for the last 2 years, I would highly suggest looking at the 5 minute more so than not. It doesn't hurt to look at the smaller time frames. But NQ it moves, and that's just the nature of the beast. So that kind of becomes a question of I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction, but it also becomes a question of is NQ the right commodity or market that you should be trading, not in a way that you're not capable. It's a matter of trying to find what works for you. So maybe that's ES, maybe that's gold. I used to trade ES all the time. I don't even bother. It moves too slow for me. I don't see things clearly like I see it in NQ. So it's a matter of trying to also choose that market that works for you and your trading style.
Well said, Todd. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is such a good topic, is market fit. Like understanding how all of the instruments work in their own unique way, and then understanding like, okay, like what works for me? Like where's my nice market fit? I love CL. CL is my favorite market. I think I've always had a good feel for CL. Like Todd's laughing because he's like, I can never trade CL. And I'm like, I feel that way about NQ. And then we have Brock
Traded
over
CL.
here who's becoming a master in gold. And then you've
I
got,
love gold.
yeah, you got people who love ES, so, like you start to, I think part of the challenge here is first, like let's identify what kind of rules are you trading, and then start maybe experimenting with the different markets and finding out, hey, I really like the feel for how this works with this set of rules, or I really prefer this market over here. That's part of the work too. I didn't really talk about that in terms of the edge development, but the Velez stuff could work anywhere, right? And it could work on any time frame. There's trade-offs though. You go to a 5-minute time frame and you might be talking about really big stop losses that you're taking, right? So you got to go for more and you've got to risk more, at least from a stop loss, not necessarily for a cost, right? Maybe you keep your loss at $100 or $200 or whatever, right? But the distance is going to be much bigger and you got to be prepared for that. You might have a 20-point
Right.
stop loss on a 5-minute chart and maybe a 7 or 8 on a 2-minute chart. So all those considerations go into this, right? Have you looked at other things besides NQ?
I have years and years ago.
Yeah.
I started off trading CL in a group. I think back in, I'm about to date myself. I think it was probably about 2008, maybe.
Okay.
I started with CL
Yeah.
and then tapped in ES and then NQ and YM and
Yeah. You've gone through
um
them all.
yes, I'll tell you, back when I think Barack Obama was being inaugurated, the YM was down to like 9,000 and something. Like that's how long ago
Yeah.
I started looking at trading.
Yeah. That's great.
And I hadn't looked at it for a while, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like over $30,000 now.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been in and out of trading. Now I'm serious for real.
Yeah, and those things have changed too over time. Like ES used to be pretty slow and boring. Todd still thinks it's slow and boring, but it's, ES can move a lot more than it did in 2008. I can promise you that. CL used to be completely wild. I was trading CL back then too. CL used to be completely wild, way more wild, and now it's settled down a bit. CL, I think for me is kind of a marriage. It's kind of in between on that spectrum between ES and NQ. Brock defined gold as kind of similar, right? It's like a NQ, but not as wiki and a little bit more. What were the words you used? I don't remember what you said. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't.
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember specifics.
You're
Yeah.
very complimentary of gold. So
I like the way it tends to speak to me. I don't know. It just has my
speaks to
flow.
you.
So
Yeah, you're the gold whisperer. Yeah. So in the group that I work with, we spend a lot of time with CL, partly because NQ and ES can be highly affected on news days, and so we avoid that with CL. CL you can trade every day. The news doesn't affect it in the same way, except for inventories on Wednesdays. So it's kind of nice that way. So yeah, there's probably some different approaches to take, for sure.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, anyone anyone who has other questions, don't hesitate to reach out, to me directly or in one of the chats. If you want me to review, one of your trading playbooks and give feedback, I'm 100% happy and willing to do that. And a lot of the guys here I've already coached with, and they know I'm pretty accessible. So, if you get to a point where you're like, hey, I'm kind of thinking about these two instruments, what do you think? I'm super happy to help out and, share my thoughts on it. And same thing for, I think Jessica, was it Jessica? Jessica, if you end up creating your playbook, shoot it over. I'm happy to, kind of go through it and tell you what I think. give you some other ideas to think about.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. What else you guys got?
On the base package for Sierra charts, does it include a volume profile?
No, I think you have to upgrade for that one. But I can't remember whether that's for the volume profile or for the TPO chart.
I was trying to look it up. I couldn't figure, because it says like on the, it says the numbered bars and the volume profile drawing tool, but it doesn't say like if that's like the standard volume profile or not.
TPO, volume profile, or interactive drawing tool. That's a good question. Well, the easy thing to do is ask in the group, and I think Misha or Brock, do you have the basic version?
I haven't made the jump yet. Nope.
There's a couple people who have the basic version, and we can find out if they can actually get a market profile or a volume profile on there.
I'm guessing like a footprint chart would be the next tier up.
That is the numbers bars. That's how they call the numbers bars. So yeah, that would be the footprint chart. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's 36 a month.
Okay.
Yeah. So 26 a month if you just need the basics, 36 a month if you want the footprint bars as well.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to jump into the integrated packages unless you have, like, that's when you want to connect an external service for live data. So you don't need that unless you're gonna, use some other live data. And then you also have to have some sort of brokerage account as well per some CME rules that they have out there. So you can stick with
so I can just stay with the. Okay, so I can just stay with the base package, either the standard or the one with the advanced features, and those are fine for what I'm trying to do with it.
Yep, 100% for replay. Yeah, when you decide if you want to start trading on it and you want live data, then you've got to look at the integrated packages. But for replay, you don't need those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, what else you guys got? What do you guys want to see from these? We've got, a few more weeks left of weekly coaching. We can keep having people maybe come on and ask questions. You guys need to be more interactive. Or if you want, I can bring topics. We can go through topics and talk about stuff, mindset, edge, process.
Hey, Todd, it's Dan. I've been a member for about 6 months now and was in the live room the other day with Rev, and he mentioned your name and you were finding success with transitioning from trading the OV style trades, but you were limiting yourself to position one. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that's maybe changed your trading positively or negatively?
So I have two top trades that I look for. My first one is gap fill. That is the first thing I look for. I go to the index for the QQQ, and that's the first thing I look for in the morning. And then the second trade, which comes a little bit later in the day, or later in the morning, as Taylor knows, is I do look for a variation of the box trade. And I've combined that with volume profile and the Velez style. So I'm looking for that momentum to come in to the market and to make that move. Those are usually like the 3, 4, 5 hour trades that Taylor talks about. So that's kind of a waiting game. But if I end up seeing momentum in the market besides the gap fill early on, I'll take that trade 9 times out of 10. It's got to be a small stop. And if I've already made a daily wage in it, that starts to become the question of if I want to take a box trade, even if it is in process, it starts to become the question of how's it going to make me feel the rest of the day based on the setup. And that's kind of just part of my discretionary. And that's where I have to really decide whether or not I want to take that trade, because I did my work for the day. I could go enjoy my day. So I'm sure sometimes you see me in the chat, you know, just hanging out, but I'm usually done trading. If I've said, hey, I'm done, I'm just doing business work after that. So, but those are the two main trades that I look for. And then, like I said, the discretionary momentum trade in the morning obviously has its place as well.
Thanks, Todd. And yeah, you're right. I misspoke. It was the box and the Velez, not the initial position one in Velez. So thank you. Very helpful.
Yes.
I do have one more question. I've been studying kind of your method, Taylor, and Revs and Velez and some of these others. And you guys kind of touched on it, but for the Velez stuff, has anybody found like it works better on NQ versus ES? And I know there's some context behind who's hitting the buttons at the desk, of course, but do you guys find that color changes, the whole elephant bar stuff works better on one ticker or another?
I mean, Todd, I'm sure you have your opinions. We have guys that are trading all four. And when I mean all four, keyed in on NQ, ES, CL, and gold. And then we have another guy that's testing silver right now. And am I missing anything? I don't think we have anyone doing YM. No one's doing YM that I know of. Okay. We love CL. Gold is up there too. ES has been challenging the last several months. And by the way, I want to couch this as this is not like I don't trade the way Revan trades this system. Okay, so let's just be clear. Like I can't speak for Rev or anyone else or even Oliver Velez. We have adapted Oliver Velez for something new, and it's this new thing that is working really well when it comes to CL and gold. NQ and ES have been hit and miss over the last couple of months. Long term, when we've done long term back testing, they're pretty good, right? So I say that because we are looking for certain conditions to happen before we're willing to take a Velez color change trade. And so it's not that the color that Velez isn't working necessarily on those instruments. It's that we're not always getting the conditions that we want to trigger. It's more of that than just pure, Velez isn't working. So I know that's a little bit ambiguous. Tomorrow will probably help clear some things up there because I'm going to show exactly kind of what we're doing with that other system and how we've kind of merged the two things.
I would like to add to the color change as far as the 2-minute chart. I know Rev's kind of really gone to the 2-minute along with the 15-minute position one style in order to help gauge direction a little bit better, which in NQ, from my experience, that if you're looking for directional trading and you want to play a color change in that 15-minute time frame, in the NQ, it works very well. So if that's what you're looking for is to help decide direction, it works phenomenally, just like the ES does.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night as well. That's going to be excellent, the color change one. Thanks.
You're putting the pressure on me, Dan. I don't know if I like that. You've already said it's excellent. I don't know.
You got this.
Thanks, man. I need the coaching. Love it. Good deal. All right. Anything else you guys want to bring up for today? Awesome. All right. Hey, really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for coming. Tomorrow, I'm super excited. It'll show off a little bit of the work that we've been doing. I think it's amazing, amazing stuff. We're seeing a lot of our production out of, kind of this approach. So excited to kind of share with all you guys. And hey, have a great rest of your day and good trading tomorrow.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Taylor.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.